Welcome to the MS-Perspektive podcast, Perspective with a K as I'm German. I'm Nele von Horsten, MS patient, patient advocate and author. I'm bringing you interviews, inspiration and information about living with multiple sclerosis and show you ways how you can positively influence the disease and make the best out of your diagnosis. On ms-perspektive.com you will find the show notes, 11 free tips as a PDF and lots of other information. And now the show begins. Thanks for tuning in again and welcome to episode number 167. Living with MS. Fatigue, walking and energy. Insights from Sanam. And now enjoy the interview. Hello Sanam, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show and hi to the US.
Hi, thank you so much, Neil, for having me here.
Yeah, and before we actually start, it would be lovely if you could introduce yourself briefly to the audience so they know who is with me on the podcast today and talk maybe a little bit about your life before your MS diagnosis.
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Sanam. I'm a neurological movement and fatigue coach, and I've been living with MS since 2019. There was a time when even simple things like standing up or taking a few steps didn't feel automatic anymore. I had to use walls and furniture for support because of my balance issues and foot drop. And the problem wasn't just physical, it was mental too. You start questioning your body in a way you never had to before. That experience completely changed how I see movement. It's not just about strength or exercise, it's about how your body feels, how much energy it takes, and whether you feel safe and in control. And that's what led me to the work I do now, helping people improve how they move and manage fatigue in a way that actually fits real life.
Fantastic. And if we go back a little bit to 2019 when you were diagnosed, what do you
Yeah.
remember most about that time?
Oh, yeah. Before my diagnosis, I was active and independent. I didn't think about movement at all. I just moved. And honestly, that's what changed the most with MS. Movement becomes something you have to think about, manage, and sometimes even plan around. When I was diagnosed in 2019, what stood out wasn't just the diagnosis itself, it was the uncertainty, not knowing what my body would do next. The loss of predictability was one of the hardest parts. Fatigue, foot drop, and balance issues started affecting everything. How I walked, how I structured my day, even simple things like standing up or walking across a room. And there was a turning point where I realized I couldn't approach this like regular fitness or just push through like I used to. That wasn't working anymore. I needed a different approach, something that actually worked with my body instead of against it. And that's really what led me into the work I do now. I also realized there was a gap between medical appointments and everyday life with MS. And I think it's very important. A lot of people leave appointments knowing their diagnosis, but not necessarily understanding how to manage their day to day fatigue, movement changes, or symptom patterns in a practical way. At first, I started organizing things for myself, tracking symptoms, noticing triggers, building simple systems and handouts to make information easier to apply in real life. And over time, that became the foundation of my work with others too. A big part of my approach is helping people build awareness first, then track patterns and from there make more consistent changes that actually feel sustainable. I hope that I answered your question well.
Yeah, sounds very reasonable.
Perfect.
Sanam, what do you think? Why are movement and fatigue so closely connected in MS?
Yeah, that's such an important question. When movement becomes less efficient, everything starts costing more energy. So even simple movements begin to feel heavier, and fatigue builds much faster than expected. The way I usually explain MS fatigue is this: it's not just being tired, it's more like your system runs out of energy faster than it should, even with basic tasks. And then the body starts compensating. If something isn't working well, like lifting the food, you might see things like hip hiking or shifting weight differently. Those compensations help in the moment, but over time, they can make movement more effortful, less stable, and increase fatigue even more.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think it was in the podcast with Alan Kalron also. He said when you train one thing, then it would be balance because this one thing would have the biggest positive impact on fatigue because
Right.
it takes
Yes.
so much energy from you. So, what are common mistakes people make when they try to push through symptoms?
Yeah, I think that the biggest one is trying to push through fatigue. A lot of people are used to that mindset, just keep going. But with MS, that usually backfires. Another one is focusing only on the strength. Strength is important, don't get me wrong. But if movement patterns and energy aren't managed, it doesn't translate well into real life. And the big one is not paying attention to how movement actually feels day to day. That awareness piece is often missing. And honestly, a lot of people were never taught to track those patterns in the first place. They might notice they're exhausted or walking differently, but they don't always connect it to sleep, stress, overheating, overdoing activity, or changes in routine. So I think one of the most important thing is building awareness become really important before meaningful changes can happen.
Yes, I
Yeah.
like that. The reason and the outcome. Saddam, you say MS requires strategy, not motivation. What does it mean in practice?
Yeah, I know. I say that a lot because because motivation, I believe that it comes and goes, but MS symptoms don't follow motivation, unfortunately. So relying on motivation alone doesn't work long term. You need structure. You need to understand when to move, and how to manage your energy around it. That's what actually create consistency in the long term.
Mhm. And I mean, you have explained it already a little bit, but maybe give us again one briefly explanation, one summary
Sure.
of your approach of the assessment, stabilization, strengthening, and tracking.
Yeah, sure. I always start with movement and fatigue assessment with my prospects, not only clients, prospects that they think that they want to explore, they want to learn about what I do and my coaching style. So understanding how someone moves, where compensations is happening, and when fatigue shows up. Then we build from there, starting with stability, then control, then strength, and everything is done in a way that supports real life movement, not just exercises. I also use structured tracking quite a bit because symptoms and fatigue patterns are often more connected than people realize. Sometimes just helping someone organize what they're experiencing through symptom tracking, energy awareness, or simple movement observations can completely change how they approach their day. Tracking energy, I think that is also a big part of it because that's what determines whether someone can stay consistent.
Mm-hmm. And what is fatigue pacing, and how can it people help manage their energy better?
Yeah, sure. Fatigue pacing is really about using your energy intentionally, doing enough to support progress, but not so much that you crash afterward. I know it's very challenging, and it took some time for me to learn about my fatigue and my body and really implement it in my day to day life, but it's doable. Um, that balance is what allows people to keep going consistently instead of having those big ups and downs.
Mhm.
That's what I think it's mostly about.
And what makes your approach different from typical fitness or rehab programs?
Yeah, I think that most programs, based on what I see, separate movement and fatigue. That's something that I don't. I
Mhm.
focus on how they interact in real life because that's where people actually struggle. A lot of information online is scattered. People are trying to piece things together while already overwhelmed and fatigued. So, my approach is really about simplifying and organizing things in a practical way, helping people understand patterns in their own body instead of just giving generic advice. It's not just about what you can do in a session, it's about what you can sustain throughout your day.
I like that. Yeah. Simplifying
Thank
and
you.
what you can sustain throughout the day. Very good
Yeah.
approach. Let's talk a little bit about practical tips for everyday life. What are small changes people can start with to improve energy and movement?
Yeah, very good question again. I think that the first step is awareness. Start noticing when your energy drops and how your movement changes. They are very connected. That alone gives you a lot of insight. On lower energy days, I hear this a lot, instead of stopping completely, adjust, reduce intensity, but keep some level of movement going. And with walking, one of the biggest shifts is focusing on control instead of speed. When people slow down and actually feel their movement, stability improves. That's, I
Mhm.
think, it's very important.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always good to not go back or yeah, stop and rest too much because with MS we should stay a little bit active, I think. But
Absolutely.
of course, not so easy. So how can someone deal with these good and bad days more effectively, Sanam?
Yeah. So I think that a lot of things can play a role because people sometimes they don't recognize that how their sleep, nutrition, or stress plays a role in their fatigue, in their quality of day that they have, the energy wise. Which I think that actually they have the direct impact on their energy during the day. If those are off, like sleep, nutrition, or stress, movement becomes harder. No matter how long strong someone is, and they have to spend more energy to do the movements. So I believe so. That's something that you cannot separate in our lives with MS, your energy from how did you sleep, how's your nutrition, how's the stress, and all of that. So I believe that they are completely connected with each other.
Absolutely. It all yeah, there's a network and it all take yeah, comes
Yeah,
together and we need to
exactly.
improve hopefully all the little bits and pieces and then the whole situation will be
Oh,
different.
yeah,
Totally
exactly.
agree on that. I had another interesting podcast once where it was on fear of
Oh,
falling. And so, what helps improve walking confidence when balance feels unstable?
yeah, that's very important because again, I always are you asking, sorry, me about my approach, or do you think that what people should do? Because everyone is very unique, right? And I see people with off balance that they're different. They're all different. Some people, when the balance is off, their body um, do different ways of compensating. For some people, the hip hiking happens. Some people, the other leg takes more control, and eventually it gets more fatigue on the other day that it's not affected side. So if you're asking about the balance, it's a very unique part of our life with MS, then we have to really look closer to it and see what is happening in your body when your balance is off and how you can actually manage it and improve it. And it's not only a couple of movements that you can do. It's a very broad concept that you have to, you know, pay attention to it.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. So
Yeah. Okay. And I like your strategy, looking really into the individual and what are
yeah,
their key pain points. So
sure.
you mentioned it a couple of times, but still, what role do you think do sleep, nutrition, and stress play in managing the symptoms?
Yeah, that's a very important part of our life with MS that I think that um, still needs more attention to it, right? So I think that they really have a direct impact on energy. If those are off, again, I think movement becomes harder no matter how strong you are. It's all connected. You can't really separate movement from the rest of what's going on in your body.
Hmm. And you are doing something very important. You try to rebuild trust in the body of your clients, and I guess you did the same with you. How do you do that over time?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you for asking that. It usually starts with small wins, consistent, manageable movement that shows the body can still improve, right? So when people see that they still can do some movements and over time they see the improvement. But remember, the neurological progress, it takes way longer than the muscle progress. And people need to remember that, just the parenthesis I open here. So, but when the people see that they can still improve, that's what starts rebuilding confidence in people and they can keep going and consistency happens too.
Hmm. Yeah, great. How do you handle setbacks or frustrating phases, which can
Oh
happen,
yeah.
unfortunately, with MS?
Yes, yes. Well, I've learned that setbacks are part of the process. Progress with MS, unfortunately, isn't linear. And once you understand that, it changes how you respond to those moments. Instead of feeling as failure, it becomes something you adjust around it. That's how I look at it and how I kind of manage those times that I also have in
Yeah.
my life. Yeah.
What does living well with MS mean to you today, Sanam?
Oh, good. For me, it means understanding your body. That's something that I really, it's my line. And I always say that understand your body and working with it, not constantly fighting it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that's something that people keep saying that my body is fighting against me, but it's not. I don't believe in that statement because I feel like your body is just kind of sending you a message. And when you change your mindset and instead of thinking to fight or fighting against you, work with it and help it to heal faster.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Unfortunately, we have this ugly disease, but it's
Yeah.
not the fault of
Yeah.
the body. It something went wrong at some point,
Yeah.
and now we have to find a way to,
Yeah.
um, yeah, work with it best possible and make the best out of it. Sanam,
Exactly.
which development in the field of MS do you hope to see in the next 5 years?
Oh my God. I love to see more integration between medical care and real life movement and fatigue management. A lot of people are told what MS is medically, but not necessarily how to navigate the daily reality of it. I think I brought it up at the beginning of our chat that that was a huge gap between our healthcare providers and our day-to-day life that I started feeling myself, and I thought that really someone has to do something for it and kind of like fill out this gap because yes, there are information out there, a lot of different websites, different platforms that they provide the information. But for somebody living with MS, they're in pain, they have fatigue, their body is not working the way that they want to. So they don't have that mindset. Or some people they have cognitive issues and they don't have that mindset to sit on all of those websites and start putting things together and come up with a plan for themselves.
Mhm.
So I think that that's often a missing bridge between clinical care and practical day-to-day support. I hope that in the future, our healthcare providers pay more attention how to support people's day-to-day support to day-to-day life. I understand that they are super busy. Probably it's not what they're willing to do, but if there will be something to help people more in their day-to-day life, would be amazing. Things like symptom awareness, pacing, movement confidence, trigger tracking, and sustainable routines, I think deserve more attention because they directly affect quality of life of us living with MS.
Yeah, absolutely. And dear listener, maybe just listen to the podcast episode before the one with Sanam, because there I had MS 360 degrees, the
Mm,
initiative from Germany, from actually my MS center where I'm treated at.
mm,
And it goes in that direction. And hopefully the word will spread throughout the different countries, because
wonderful.
there are quite some MS experts who are aware of the fact that we need really this whole view and yeah, around looking at the whole person and issues, and treating and helping and supporting how to live with a condition. So, Sanam, where can people find you online?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for asking that. I can share with you my website because my website is on Coaches Console or on social media, and I'm on LinkedIn. Social media, I'm on Instagram and on TikTok, both a neurologic movement coach or neurologic movement on TikTok or Instagram neurologic movement. I have 2 pages on Instagram. And also I know. And also, I can share my website later with you if you were interested. You wanted to put somewhere under the caption of wherever you're going to share our podcast. Um, but at the end of it, I really like people know that your body is still adaptable. I am a person that in 2018 and 19, before my diagnosis and after my diagnosis, I was on cane and braces for almost 3 years. By that time, it was a time that I decided to do something for myself. And that's why I became a health coach. And then I spent some training on neurological exercise and management fatigue and became a neurological movement coach, including MS. So, with those changes that I made in my lifestyle, including exercise, movement, fatigue management, nutrition, stress management, and now I can jog sometimes, really. I still cannot run, but I was never a runner. Um, but but the cane and braces, they are in closet. I don't remember last time I used them. However, when I need them, for instance, I'm going for a long hikes or
Mhm,
walks, I definitely have it with me because
mhm.
I am aware that my foot drop or my leg starts feeling heavy or tired after long walks. But you just need to be more patient and consistent with your lifestyle changes. It might require a different approach, but improvement is still absolutely possible.
Yeah, yeah, 100% agree on that. And I will put, of course, all your links in the show notes and the blog article, and people can find it there. What would you like to leave our listeners with today?
To what? I'm sorry, to
What would you like to leave as a final message with the listener?
Oh, yes, yes, definitely. I think I just said it already. I want to people trust the process. I want them to believe that they can absolutely get better and improve. Their life is going to improve for sure. But again, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm sorry about that. But neurological improvements takes longer, and that's where a lot of people just skip doing making those changes in their lifestyle because they kind of like feel like, okay, it's taking a lot of time and I'm not patient. and I cannot do anymore. But sometimes you just need to be patient a little bit more, and then you see that the improvement happened, and your foot drop is not happening that often, or your energy is more consistent compared to before. So just trust the process and keep thriving.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that episode. There was a fantastic episode with Anthony Feinstein, and
Hmm.
they did a great research on quite heavily impaired people with MS, and the trial was not successful because
Hmm.
they were thinking they have to do a certain program in physical and psychology stuff, but at the end it came out that you need to do things. You need to social interact. You need to do something for your body. You need to do something for your mindset, and then people will improve, even if they have quite a high EDSS, so
Yes.
quite a high level of impairment. So the trial was not, po- yeah, the trial was not matching the endpoints, but it was a very positive sign that when you become active, things will improve for
Yes.
whatever level you are, and this is a
Yes.
great message, I
I'm
think.
so glad that you brought it up. It's a very important thing. And you brought up the mindset. I think I missed that. The mindset is super, super important. When we change our mindset, basically everything starts shifting. And then we can see that, oh, I'm willing to do that maybe 10 minutes exercise. I'm willing to cook that meal for myself with more vegetables and protein. The mindset, I think, is a starting point of everything in this life, especially when you live with something like MS.
Yeah, like a chronic disease.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much, Sanam. Was a
Of
great
course.
interview, and
Thank
yeah,
you.
sending high, yeah, lovely greetings to San Francisco Bay Area, which
Yes.
is a
Yes.
lovely area.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much, Neil, for your time. Bye bye, dear.
I hope you enjoyed the interview, learned something new, and maybe even got inspired to try out the approach of Sanam, and maybe this will improve your quality of life, which would be great. By the way, next time I will invite Isabel Voigt to the podcast, and we will talk about MS 360 degrees, the approach from fragmented care to connected care, because this is the MS 360 degrees approach. And this will be an interesting episode, as always. So I hope you tune in again. I hope you stay as positive and active as possible. And as always, please let other people know about the podcast who might be interested in the topics. Rate it wherever you are listening to it. And see you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening today. I hope you found it helpful. You may also be interested in the previously published episodes and posts, which you can find at ms-perspektive.com/podcast. Perspective with a K. You can also get a free PDF with 11 tips for your positive impact on MS at ms-perspektive.com/newsletter. If you'd like to get in touch, you can reach me at nele@ms-perspektive.com or on social media. See you next time.